Hi everyone, I'm Angelica Vandi and I'm a research fellow in the Fashion in Process Research Lab at the School of Design of Politecnico di Milano. During this lecture, we will analyze the main aspects related to customer engagement. In particular, you will be introduced to some concepts related to the key role of customers in companies' value chains and the customer shifts in the digital era. I'd like to start this lesson with this significant quote by Peter Drucker, considered the father of management, taken from his book The Practice of Management. What the customer thinks he is buying, what he considers value, is decisive. It determines what a business is, what it produces, and whether it will prosper. Engaging consumers and succeeding in transforming them into customers is a consequence of the creation of a rewarding business purpose. This implies a strong relationship between brand and customer, meaning that if the brand is not in line with clients' necessities, the client will opt for waiting, other than buying an alternative. As also Kapfer asserts in the new strategic brand management, this engagement can be traced back to two sources. Attachment, there is a strong feeling of closeness and proximity with the brand. Satisfaction, linked to the special perception of superiority in product performance. To achieve these results, we have to keep in mind the profound shift in the demand of the last 10 years. In fact, markets moved from product centricity to service centricity. Consequently, brands should have moved from a customer focus to a wider customer culture approach. Customer focused consists in an outside-in approach. Brands look at who the customer is and his or her willingness, and try to accomplish and identify which products and services match the willingness from each customer. On the contrary, the customer culture approach tries to see the world from a customer's point of view. This is an inside-out point of view, based on which companies try to understand what customers need and then deliver that. By creating complete solutions, by thinking like the customer, by understanding needs as well as wants, a customer culture attitude can deliver a real customer experience which goes beyond a mere transaction. The former CEO of Apple, Steve Jobs, famously advised, "It isn't the consumer's job to know what they want. Otherwise, it's a decision that comes from the basis of a brand strategy and makes companies ask what to do to maximize the value customer gets from their offer." Another essential aspect to consider regarding customer engagement is the always accelerated digitization and democratization of information that makes necessary to produce appealing contents, able to quickly attract attention. In this already emerged scenario, consumers are no longer standardized in a rigid set of human types, divided per age and origin. They have a name and surname, a social position, a specific job, habits, things that they like and others that they don't. When building digital strategies, brands have to consider that consumers have become real personas to talk with in a horizontal way. Especially fashion consumers are at the same time users of digital devices and receivers of media contents. Therefore, they result both as knowledge seekers and as content producers. In this hybrid system, brand awareness is improved by a continuous merging between officially produced and user-generated content that allows the spreading of non-official contents by appropriating and sharing information and opinions related to the whole purchase and consumption experience. To this end, brands are developing innovative and strategic customer touchpoints with the aim of augmenting direct customers' interactions and engagement in apps and social media. According to the consulting firm McKinsey & Company, during coronavirus pandemic, Nike China, for example, activated its digital community by offering virtual workouts and saw an 80% increase in weekly active users of its own app. The whole online branding approach is now based on an interactive experience of the user, which finds himself involved into the symbolic brand's universe through an authentic and integrated purchasing experience. In fact, cutting-edge brands are reformulating their customer experience, taking into consideration the omnichannel and phygital approach, in which the physical and digital environment are combined to create a complete and personalized journey. Consequently, customers are no longer just protagonists at a commercial and a communication phase, but they become also involved into the design process. In fact, buying choices and feedback sharing influence a brand's collection developing, and at the same time decrease risks along the way. The increasing agility typical of these new lean models brings companies not only to track data and insights from web pages and social media trends, but also to adopt agile practices with real-time insights to recalibrate their businesses and offerings. Even a trend-setting company such as Pantone is delivering new tools for democratizing their color codes. The Pantone Studio app allows users to create personal color palettes directly taken from images, creating a community of amateurs, designers, and artists that shares inspirations about color combinations. To summarize, during this lecture, we have introduced the importance of customer and the concept of customer engagement, making a distinction between the customer focus and the customer culture approach. We have also defined how consumers behave in the ever-growing digitized scenario, delineating some strategies that companies are adopting to face this environment.